Welcome back to the Spirituality with Ashley podcast. I am your host, Ashley, currently lighting a candle, inviting in the highest vibration of unconditional love and light for the highest and greatest good of all those involved. I'm just setting up my ambiance. Hello, welcome back. Feels so good to be back on the mic here on the podcast. I have taken a break probably for about a year. I've posted, I think I've posted a couple of episodes in the meantime, but I have not been doing my weekly drops like I did for the first 11 months that I had the podcast. I decided to take a break and step away for a bit. I needed to come back to myself. I needed to recalibrate my energy so that I could share and show up from a place of overflow because I was absolutely showing up from this place of forcing the flow. I was showing up from a place of burnout, from overfunctioning, from pushing through, something I prided myself on. I now pride myself on recognizing when I'm doing that. Now I pride myself on calling myself out. I pride myself on choosing to rest when I feel like pushing through because, man, I used to feel like pushing through gave me comfort. I think I was so used to it that that's where I felt safe. I've been doing so much nervous system work. Man, oh my God. I feel like crying. Oh, that's how you know, man. I've been doing a lot of, this is vulnerability. That's why I feel like crying. Ooh, we love it though. We're here for it. Vulnerability. I've been doing a lot of nervous system work and oh my God, like let me tell you, the amount of stuff that I've learned about myself over the past year, how do I even how do I even put all that into words? I I've learned so much. I'm not the same person I was last year. I'm not the same person I was last month, last week. I don't feel like I'm the same person I was yesterday. It's wild. I've been doing so much work, so much inner work, and I'm not thinking about it as inner work. I've been thinking about it as finding my way back to myself. I've been I've been kind of doing it in the frame of I'm just trying to clean up my frequency. I'm trying to let go of all the things that are not serving me so that I feel really clear and grounded and self-assured in who I am, to where I'm so comfortable in my energy that it does not matter what's happening outside of me. It doesn't matter what's happening around me. It doesn't matter how anybody around me is feeling. I'm able to be very grounded and stable in me, in myself. And as I've been doing this work, doing the energy healing, the somatic practices, the tapping, the breathing, and of course, journaling, writing poetry, verbal processing, just venting, letting it out, naming the things as they're coming up, I've noticed that I have started really getting to this place of more inner peace, more stability of where I notice, oop, a gnat just came and flew at me. Yeah, I've been getting back to this place where I've noticed now that I've created this sense of equilibrium in my system to where now I notice if something is heightening me and I can pinpoint it almost in the moment. Whereas before I was surviving, I'd been in fight or flight for so long, like that's what I knew. That was my way of being. And I'd been that way for as long as I could remember. And so whenever something that would poke at my anxiety or something would create a heightened state, I was already in that heightened state as my baseline. That was my that was my foundation, was stress and being heightened. And so when something acute or like a stressor would happen, I wouldn't necessarily notice immediately. or even attribute how I was feeling to that thing because I always felt that. I always felt the anxiety. I always felt the stress. I always felt heightened. And when I say heightened, I mean that sense. It's almost like it becomes for your nervous system. It can, if you have PTSD, if you have trauma, if you've got trapped emotions, if you stress a lot, if you worry a lot, if you're in your head a lot, your nervous system can get a bit, I want to say frazzled. That's the word that's coming through. And it can just feel like you're kind of buzzing, but in this like you've got a lot of activity happening in your system kind of a way. And after a while that can get exhausting. That's your nervous system being heightened. It's responding to things, it's being activated, and your nervous system getting heightened is not always a bad thing. But when you are always in a heightened state, that can become a pathology, I think. Is that what you call that? I'm not quite sure, but it can become, that's when it can become problematic because we are meant to ebb and flow, to adapt. And if you are constantly maintaining one state instead of ebbing and flowing through states, as we're meant to do naturally, you might start to notice that you're getting fatigued, that you're getting irritable, that you get snappy. You might not process stress as well. You might not be able to make the choices for yourself that you know would be good for you. And it almost feels like something's holding you back, or like you're stuck, or like you just can't move forward. And I remember feeling like that and not knowing what to do about it. I remember feeling like, God, I have so much stuff to heal. I have so much stuff to work on. And it's so funny because now I approach it from such a different place and I'm showing up differently. And it feels really good. I'm feeling better about, I don't even like saying the phrase healing journey, but I'm feeling better about just how I move through life. I'm feeling more confident. I feel more love for myself. I feel more comfortable coming up against challenges and uncertainty. I have so much more self-trust to where I understand now that when I feel something, I don't necessarily need to understand, analyze, and explain it immediately. What's most important in that moment is feeling it, is giving it room to breathe and in giving myself room to breathe, it's created that space in my life to where I can process the deeper, harder things now. I can look at my shadows without being scared. Now I'm like, oh, I'm scared of that thing. All right, that means it's time. That's next up on my to-do list. I've just been giving myself more grace. And so in feeling more embodied, it, I'm feeling, I was gonna say, I think, I'm feeling ready to show up again because I'm feeling like I can actually do it as my full, real self and less curated. My Virgo rising, I like to show up. I always want to be put together. I always want to come off as competent. I like for people to see me as put together, having my shit together. And I remember when I first started my business and I first started my podcast and I was showing up and creating content for social media. I always had this like little monster sitting on my back saying like, you better show up right. You better show up and you better show up perfectly, like the expert, like you have it together. You're supposed to be an authority. And I've been learning that you can be an authority just by being yourself, by expressing the things that you're going through. Because as you're working through it, you're learning about it, you're becoming an authority for yourself. And so being an authority, being a leader, it does not mean having it all together. It means having the courage to show up authentically and be honest with yourself and be honest about where you're at and feel confident in expressing that because you're not comparing where you're at to where anyone else is. You're always, okay, look, I read this book. It's called The Gap and the Gain. Not a huge book. It's a pretty easy read. It's really good. And I learned something so important from that book. I recommend it to anybody, especially if you're an overachiever, overfunctioning, if you're always comparing yourself, you feel like you're not good enough. You're always just, you're trying to get to that next level. You're always trying to grow and improve. And we do this thing where we compare ourselves to where we're trying to be. It's like we have this ideal, the perfect idealized version, the epitome of success of where we're trying to get to for whatever it is, how we'd like to be, something we'd like to achieve in our life, the perfect relationship, job, being ready to show up in a certain way. We idealize that outcome and then we compare where we're currently at to that outcome. And it's almost a form of self-sabotage because obviously, if you're comparing your current self to where you're trying to be, and you're not even comparing it to a realistic expectation, you're comparing it to an idealized expectation, of course, you're going to feel behind. Of course, you're going to feel like, oh, I'm not enough. I'm not there yet. I'm not doing enough. Like, I'm still so far behind. There's so much of a gap between me and where the idealized version of where I would like to be. And that can feel so overwhelming. That can feel like so much pressure and it can be paralyzing. It can keep you where you're at. And I did that so much. I find myself doing it. And when I read The Gap and the Gain, it teaches you to instead, if you're going to compare yourself, you measure the gain. Don't measure the gap ahead of you. Measure the gain, which is where you've come from. Where did you start and where are you now? What kind of growth has happened between where you started and your current spot? Think about where you were and where you are now, what you've learned, what you've accomplished, what you know, the experience that you've gathered along the way, even if it was just a week ago. You have learned something since then. You have grown since then. You have adapted since then. Start looking at that, the gain, instead of the gap. That creates self-trust. That creates more stability. That's what creates confidence instead of lack. And I've been doing a lot of work like that. Another book I really liked was Don't Believe Everything You Think. Oh my gosh, so good. It's really great. It's also a good quick read. It's a smaller book and it's about identifying that you don't have to identify with your thoughts. Your thoughts are not truths. And so if you believe every single thing that you think without recognizing that your thoughts are just that, they're just thoughts floating in and out, and they're not even always yours, and that you can just observe them without identifying, without making those thoughts true, without making them a part of you, they can just be a thought. Oh, this dress doesn't look good on me. That's just a thought. It doesn't mean that that's true. Somebody else could walk in and be like, wow, I have never seen that dress look better on anyone. That's also a thought. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be true. We are the ones who decide what's true for us. We are the ones who attribute meaning in our lives. So, are you attributing meaning in a way that feels good for you? Are you defining things in a way that's supportive for your life? We have so much more control than we realize. And that control, that awareness, it starts with our nervous systems. It starts with our way of thinking, with our beliefs. It starts with our energy. Your nervous system, your belief system, we are made up of systems. And the more we understand ourselves and these systems and how our energy flows, the easier it is to flow with it. And I've been feeling ready to jump back onto my podcast because I'm understanding this stuff more. I've started leaning into doing things that used to make me uncomfortable. I'm finding out that, oh my gosh, I love tarot. I love studying excuse me, my natal chart. And using my voice is really important in this life. And it's something that I've shied away from. It's something I've been scared to do. And there have been just so many synchronicities rolling in as I've been opening up to this. And it's so funny because earlier this year, um, I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to narrate books. I want to do voice acting. And I got so into it. And for like, a day, my obsessive my obsession energy. It cycled through that pretty quickly, and I don't know if it was the discomfort of, a lifetime of not liking my voice, of not wanting to listen to myself, of not feeling like I would have impact, of not feeling like I'm worthy. Probably. I think that's what that really is. And I've decided to explore that and start doing voice work, start listening to my voice, start playing with it, start just having fun. And in doing that, it's opened up all of these paths, all of these opportunities, all of these insights and shadows. It's been a lot of fun. It's been very emotional. It's been transformative. It's been a wild ride. And I want to share that. I'm noticing, ooh, frequency shift. I just heard that, a ringing in my right ear. I I am realizing that I used to be terrified of being vulnerable publicly, of sharing my voice, of sharing my struggles, sharing my story. I'm so terrified of being perceived, being misunderstood. These are huge wounds that I'm working through. I'm understanding, I'm integrating, I'm embodying in this life. They're a part of me. I chose this blueprint. I chose this way of being, this personality. I chose all of this to work with my gifts. And so did you. And it was really scary when I learned that my path in this life, my path of service is healing out loud. It's sharing my experiences. It's sharing the messy middle. It's showing up as my authentic self, not polished, just raw, unapologetic, exactly who I am, sharing what I'm going through, sharing my experiences, and sharing them from a place of just figuring it out as I move, as I go along. And I'm finally able to accept that. It's still a brutal truth for me. And I say that I've been noticing as I've been settling more into somatic work and really feeling my feelings and getting more into my body. I notice that when I come up on a brutal truth, that I feel it in my solar plexus. It feels like, oh my God, like a washing machine of anxiety in my solar plexus. It's this tight, swirly, tense, nauseous feeling. And it's when I'm consciously aware of a truth, but my nervous system is catching up to the embodiment, to the embracing, to the integration of that truth. It's like I'm still trying to accept it, even if I can logically be like, oh, that makes sense. I get this. And so I'm showing up. This is me, healing out loud, sharing the messy middle, unpolished, uncurated, my authentic self. No more scripting, no more over preparing. I'm gonna show up as me from a place of overflow because the frequency that I'm showing up with, the energy that I'm speaking from is important because my voice carries that frequency. You can feel where my nervous system is. And right now, even saying that, I can feel it. I can feel it getting a bit heightened. I'm being vulnerable. That is still a scary thing for me. I can feel the tightness in my head. My nervous system is definitely getting a bit activated, but it's okay because I know this isn't danger. This is me leaning into the discomfort. It's leaning into the fear. It's the courage to continue to walk over the hot coals because I know that my feet were made to walk on hot coals and show you that it can be done and show you what it looks like so that you can also find your courage to walk over your own hot coals and be that inspiration for somebody else. This is just a domino effect. I'm just one domino. You're another domino. We're all dominoes in the grand scheme of the big domino game called life. That's really not where I was trying to go. But hey, you know what? We're here. Unapologetic authenticity. Oh my gosh. This is the point where I would love to have a script in front of me so I could just flow with it. I'm also trying to speak more slowly. I have a lot of fire and I like to speak quickly. And I like to do that also because I'm like, I don't want people to get bored. But that comes from the part of me that used to feel like I needed to perform, that used to feel like I needed to please. And now I understand I just need to be me. And so that's what I'm going to be. I feel like I'm reading a Dr. Seuss book. So, all of this to say, my brand is shifting a bit. My personal brand, my identity is has shifted. And so that's reflected in all the areas of my life. And so I'm going to be showing up differently here. If you listen to season 1 of my podcast, it's going to be different than the way that I'm showing up now. So this is the intro to the new Ashley 2.0. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here with me, to have you listening and tuning in. Thank you so much. It means so much. I can't even tell you. Like, even if it's just one person. Um, oof, thought of my mom in that moment. The grief. We're also in the grief time of the year. It's holiday season. It's October. Her death date is coming up in about 2 weeks. This yeah, this feels like good timing. With that, I hope that this transmission brought you a modicum of comfort. I hope that you got out of it what you needed. Thank you again for being here. I have so much gratitude for this life and for this opportunity to just get to explore and get to have fun and get to learn about myself. I feel like we're all so privileged to get these experiences. And with that being said, I'm sending you so much love. Give yourself grace. Understand that you are exactly where you need to be and that you are perfect the way that you are. And I love you so much. I'm sending out so much love. We all could always use so much more love. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next recording.